This is a product review of the FOAOOD Smart IP camera. This is a security camera. It's one that we use here on our homestead. Had some experience with these. I like them because overall they're inexpensive and they provide a lot of features for a relatively low price point. So I'm just going to do a little walkthrough, exactly what all comes with this. I have to do this outside right now. So first and foremost, biggest thing you're going to get is the security camera itself. Now this is a Wi-Fi connected security camera that also includes a solar charger. On the bottom there are two different variations of this design. They used to use a micro USB charger connector. I'm having to do this one-handed, so apologize if I look like I'm fiddling with this just a little bit. They switched over to a USB-C connector with a recent update, but depending on which one you have or which one you get, you could end up seeing one or the other. I do prefer the USB-C connector. So basically, what you have is a USB-C connector. You have a power on button and a reset button, which are here and here. And then you have a slot for a micro SD card. This will accommodate an SD card, a micro SD card. I believe that they say like 32 gigabytes, but I've actually have a couple that have 64 gigabyte cards in there. I'm not sure if they're taking advantage of the full 64 gigabytes, but I do have some that are using more than 32 gigabytes. The next thing you're going to have will be some mounting hardware. You will have mounting hardware for your camera, and you can tell the difference in the two, which one goes to which appliance. So this goes with this. They're both white. And this is the solar panel, and it's black, and mounting hardware is black. So you can tell which one goes with which. And you can see here, this is the USB-C connector, and this will allow you to charge a phone or something. It's not made for that, but if you have something that is USB-C enabled, like a phone, like I have a Samsung, this is a Note, it will charge it. It's not made for it, so it would be kind of like a trickle charge to a phone. It's not going to provide necessarily enough wattage to really charge the phone very fast. Not saying it can't be done. Now, when you first get these, my advice to you is to take it in the house, hook this up to a USB-C charger, okay, and charge this thing until it is completely charged. All right, and then usually it'll take you anywhere between 8 to 12 hours, roughly, depending on how charged it comes already. It could take a little bit less, but you want to go ahead and bring it up to full charge. Inside the box, we're also going to find a USB-C connector. So if you do not have one, as long as you have something that can plug into a USB-A connector, which is what this is, and plug that into the wall, for juice, then you can use this. But this is a typical USB-C connector. It will plug into the bottom here, and then you can just go ahead and charge that again up until it has a full charge. Once it has one, then you're ready to move along to the next step. I'm going to go ahead and take these items out of their package, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we're ready. We're back. This is the solar panel that comes with our camera. All right, and it comes with about, I'm guessing here, probably about an 8 to 10 foot long cable that's attached to it. So you have plenty of cord to be able to install this within a reasonable distance of the camera itself. Most of my installs have been closer, usually within about 2 or 3 feet. I have from time to time needed to move it a little bit further out. It's not too big of a deal, but I have had to on occasion. Now, in terms of mounting hardware for the solar panel, basically what you have is you have a plastic 3-screw little base that will attach to whatever it is on the outside of your structure that you're trying to cover, to get camera coverage for. So this one here, just basically three little self-tapping screws. They come with it right here. And if you're inserting these into something where, again, you don't have necessarily a good bite, you can of course drill, put your anchors in, and then screw into those if you would prefer. Then this part here will screw onto the back of the solar panel right here. And it just basically goes in like so. And then, you'll just basically screw that on. And then you'll screw this back onto the mount, just like that, and you'll be good to go. It's pretty straightforward, very simple, pretty easy to install. The part for the camera is almost identical. The only difference is that it does have this tensioner piece right here, so that once you have tightened this onto the camera, you can reverse thread this back, and it will apply tension and pressure against the base of the camera to ensure that it's held in whatever position that you're needing it to be held in. With that in mind, these cameras are unique in the sense that you can mount them either, what I would say, up or down. So if you are in a situation where it needs to be upside down for whatever reason, actually hanging from maybe a covered porch or something, then you can do that. And then you can go into the settings, and I'll show you, you can go into the settings and actually tell it to invert the image so that whenever you're watching it, it's not upside down for you. Otherwise, then you can mount these on a post, a pedestal, somewhere outside. These are, weather resistant. I will not call these waterproof. I'm going to be, honest about that. They do have the ability of allowing you to talk through the camera. So if you are using these as a way of communicating, let's say that you have a delivery and you want to communicate with the driver of the vehicle or something, you can do so. It will motion detect and let you know that there's motion detected, and there's an alarm here, alarm functionality at night. You can turn that on or off. And then of course, if you need to converse with somebody through the camera, you are able to do that. I have had to do that on occasion too. I do have an office that's remote from where we live, and I remember getting some notifications that there was somebody at my office on a weekend, and I was able to talk to the person and basically clear up, the idea that, look, you're knocking on the wrong door. There's nobody there. They were just, actually, I guess going from a local church or something just to minister or something on a Saturday. And I was able to let them know, hey, thank you, appreciate that, but no one's home right now. Or no one's at the structure anyways. So you can do things like that. They're also good on a homestead because you can use these to communicate with people around the homestead. If you see trespassers, for example, who are in areas they should not be, then you are able to communicate with them, let them know, hey, look, this is private property, and that you should not be in this area. One thing that I will advise you is do not remove this facing here until you have installed the solar panel and attached it to the device itself. Now, it's not going to do anything crazy, nothing like that, but it could potentially damage the solar panel, and there's no point in doing that. Just don't have it where it's in direct sun until it's actually ready to be used, especially with the cover off. Once it's hooked up, you're perfectly fine. Now, one good thing about these is they will auto detect if they're full or not, and they will continue to charge up to the point where they are full. As soon as they're full, there's no more of a need for them to charge any further. Then even though the device, of course, here is still connected, it will cease charging the battery that's inside of here. The batteries are good depending on their use, anywhere between maybe a day to as long as a couple of weeks. That's a very long gap. I can't really tell you more specifically than that. And the reason is that you can go in and customize the settings so that these will they'll be very sensitive and they'll go off a lot. Or you can dial down the sensitivity to where it will only activate if there really is something large in the field of view and motion, in which case it will not get activated very frequently, therefore it's not recording very frequently, and as a result your battery life will be extended. Likewise, you could even turn off the motion detecting features completely. I have had to do that on occasion. You know, if we have had, you know, sometimes these cameras are great, but if you're in an area, you know, where maybe the solar panel was shaded, which was the case here for one of my cameras, and for a few days we had a lot of rain and clouds. As a result, the camera did not get much in the way of solar charging, and it was going off because of the sensitivity. It was going off a lot. As a result, we had to cut off that feature for a while. You know, whenever we did so, it allowed us to be able to reduce the amount of drain that was occurring on the battery, and afterwards we did not have any problems with the device no longer being able to hold a charge. It took it about 3 days roughly of decent sun, and then it was back to 100%. We turned it back on with normal functionality, normal monitoring behaviors, and we haven't had any problems since. Sometimes you may have to do something like that. It doesn't happen a lot. I've been using cameras like this from this manufacturer now for almost 2 years. And in that time period, we have had really good success with these cameras. I really, you know, I like them a lot. I'll be honest, I like them a lot. They come in handy in so many ways. We have them all over our, I'm sorry here, I've got to stop for just a second. Let me zoom in. Can y'all see that? We have the Geico lizard, y'all. Okay, maybe not. That is the wonderful thing about living out, you know, where we do. There's no telling what you're going to see and when. All right, so sorry for pausing for that. So what I was saying here is we had these for a couple of years. We've had great success with them. They are very, very functional. Overall, they do hold a charge very well. I would say again, probably without much in the way of solar activity, you could probably go 3 days on average with zero solar charging and not miss a lick with these cameras, maybe even longer. I would, of course, caution you that if you are looking at a period where there's like no sun, or again the solar charger is obstructed in some way, you probably do need to either take this thing down and put a direct charge onto it for a day or two, or you can turn off the monitoring feature and then just let it, essentially, it'll exist, it'll be there. It's just not going to do anything for you unless you happen to look in on it, but you'll still be able to use it. So I'm going to show you one of these in terms of setup and how you go through the setup process. And it's not very complicated, but it'll be good for you to be able to see it. So if you're going to go through the setup process for these, it's overall pretty simple. You're going to launch the Cloud Plus app, and then once you have the app open, you can go to Add Device, and you do want to make sure that the device is turned on. And as I said before, there are 2 buttons on the bottom here. One here, and there's a reset button. What you'll do is hold this down until you hear a tone. There you go. And now we know that it is ready to go. So it did find a device, as you can see here. We can click onto it. And that's where we want to go. So once it has connected successfully, you will get a notification on your phone that it has successfully connected. So once it has connected, you will see a connection successful notification on your phone. So once you have configured the device, all you have to do now is just tell it where you want it to be assigned to. You can assign it to either living room, bedroom, door, or backyard. You can see the options here. Let's just go ahead and choose backyard for our purposes. Now it's going to ask you to connect the device to charge it. It will tell you, then you can just go through and it will give you some other information around the installation, what to do, what it looks for, etc. Next, installation guide. Put camera and phone at the place they're supposed to be placed. Hit next, and then it will begin the process of gathering information from the camera itself. And it'll tell you exactly what's going on with the Wi-Fi signal. It's weak right now because we're indoors. Now it says strong because it's detected it, so we're good to go. Now, once we have that, we can then go and choose, the camera itself, and it will allow us to, do some other things. They do have a plan for doing cloud storage. We do not use the cloud storage feature. We just basically go ahead and use the device as it stands with an SD card or micro SD card. Now, it will do a version check. So whenever you get the camera, it will check and see if you're using the latest firmware. That's normal. You can go ahead, tell it to upgrade the firmware. That way you're dealing with the most recent firmware that's available for the device. I have turned this upside down. If I have it facing forward, it will give me notifications because it is set, of course, to detect motion. Now, what's happening right now is it is downloading the latest software patch, the latest firmware, and this will take anywhere between 5 and maybe even 10 minutes. The installation now is almost complete. I'm going to pause the video and let this finish up, and then we'll come right back. Once the app has been installed, you are free to play around with some of the different settings. Things like the name of the app or name of the specific camera. You can check version information. You are, of course, whenever you launch the app itself, click connect to the camera. This is kind of what you're seeing. We're going to settings. This is really kind of where it starts to make sense. You can have things like alarm management. You have features such as image management. This case here, under the alarm settings, the alarm management, we can change the sensitivity, changing that up or down. Up will make it more sensitive, down makes it less sensitive. There are multiple modes that are by default enabled. You can add things like humanoid detection, and then you can cut those off, of course. You can change the duration that you need for record time. There's lots of features that are built into the app to allow you to customize the camera to your specific use case. So it's important just to go through and explore this, see what's available to you and what you would need to configure it for your specific use case. I mentioned earlier that there are other settings here that you can check, things like battery management, for example. You can take a look at just how the performance is doing overall for the unit. If you need to turn the image flip on, you can do that so that if the unit is installed upside down, it will still enable it to record and actually record, and give you that information or that video upside, right side up. Other options again for nighttime recording, things like full color or black and white are available to you. Where it's installed, like I said, location management. If you need to change that, where it's installed at, indoors, outdoors, etc., you can do that and give it names that are specific to your specific use. Lots of features that are enabled and are available to you within the app management console for the specific camera. And of course, if you need to reboot it, you can restart the device if need be, delete the device. So lots of things for you to just kind of go through, play around with, and see what it is that you're needing to make available to you for your specific, again, for your specific use. So this is an example of one of these Wi-Fi security cameras installed. This is pointed, in this case here, along our driveway, so it monitors any activity coming from this direction. This is on the corner post, so we've got this thing pointed with the solar panel, generally speaking, up. This allows it to get pretty good coverage overall. We don't have much of a problem trying to keep this thing charged. Not a lot in the way of cord necessary, so you can see we didn't even have to take off the binding around there. The only other thing I would definitely mention is you do want to make sure that you have a little bit of either a loop or that this piece here is actually hanging down, and that's so that any water that does run down, if you had it like this, for example, then depending on where it's at, you could potentially end up maybe getting some water penetration somewhere, although I don't think that's really much of a problem. This one here does have the speaker on the back, just like the other one did. So pretty well exactly the same, no real difference there. The same USB-C charger. This is just one that we already had installed. I just wanted to show you a little bit about how that needs to how this needs to go together. Now I would tell you also, you do want to have your phone with you and have the app open when you install this. That way you can make sure that you get the camera pointed exactly where you need it to be pointed at. What you're going to find is that it's possible that the camera might not be pointed in the direction that you necessarily want to see. You may think it's pointed right, and then you actually end up looking at it on the camera and it's on your phone and it's pointed too far to the right or to the left, and you really need that field of vision exactly in that one particular spot, and you think it's there, you've eyeballed it and you got it close, but it wasn't quite there. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward on this part. So overall, what's been our experience over the past couple of years of using these? If I had to give it a rating in terms of performance on a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate it probably about a 7 in terms of performance. And that's actually a pretty good rating, I'll be honest, by my standards. I would prefer it if the solar panel that came with it was capable of providing a little bit more wattage to the unit. Not a lot, but a little bit more would help whenever we do have those periods of time, whenever it is overcast for a few days, rain, snow, whatever the case may be. These are advertised basically as weatherproof. They're not weatherproof, they're not waterproof. They're what I would call weather resistant. They are made to be placed into areas that they're going to be exposed to the weather, but you need to understand that that will cause them to fail perhaps sooner than what you might prefer. So again, I would say overall a 7 out of 10 would be my rating in terms of performance. Now, in terms of Wi-Fi, again, I mentioned that you're basically good within about 100-foot bubble zone of your router. So if you are within that zone, I don't think you'll have really any issue trying to get these to connect. That's been my experience. About 100 feet is about, I would say, a safe bet. Beyond that, it's going to be hit or miss. It really depends on proximity. Again, it depends on the strength of your router, number of antennas. Are you connected to what's basically like a multiple input, multiple output exterior antenna? Lots of factors can come into play there. If you have specific questions, you can ask. I'll be glad to try to advise, but really the best advice that I could give you would be to get an outdoor antenna, an outdoor router, an outdoor wireless Wi-Fi extender. These are all things that you can investigate. There are tons of videos. I don't have anything that I can really offer as a video right now. We're in the process of trying to get those set up here on our property. There are lots of ways you can configure those, everything from just a direct regular outdoor antenna or Wi-Fi extender all the way up to mesh, systems. So I can't really answer all those questions here in one video on security cameras. If you look at Amazon and you look up these cameras, they'll tell you they list for like $79, but they actually, their normal going price, their normal price is $39. And if I had to pay $39 for them, honestly, I believe that's about probably reasonable. I'm thankful that I can usually get them for less. So I have found that Amazon, for the white ones, I don't know why the white ones are cheaper, but the white ones tend to run $10 to $15 less than the black ones do. So they'll typically keep the price point on the black ones at $39.99. I don't know why. So $40, you might as well say. But the white ones, which I have plenty of, which work just as well, they actually will do these coupons and they'll discount them by $10 or $15 regularly. So anyways, cameras, look for them on sale. I'll put the link in the notes. Typically about $25 to $30, somewhere in that price range is about where I will usually end up picking them up at. And again, I add these maybe about once every couple of months. So I'll go ahead and cut this video off here. I think I've rambled enough. Again, if you got questions, comments, suggestions, put them below. Subscribe, of course, share the videos. That would really go a long way. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers right now. We're up to about 600 subscribers, almost. We thank you very much for your help in getting us there. We'd really like to get to 1,000 by the end of the month, if at all possible. So if you could help us out and share some of our video content, we would really appreciate your help. Honestly, it would go a long way towards getting us there. So thank you, have a great day, and God bless.